Good morning. My name's Greg Boland. I'm the convener of entrepreneurship here at the University of Canberra, and my other role is I look after work experience or work integrated learning, whereby we put students out into industry placements as part of their degree. It could be any degree. And my other job is I look after the offshore international program, our transnational education as we call it. Here we have 5 campuses offshore in Asia and Bhutan, 2 in China, 1 in Hong Kong, 1 in Singapore. And what we do on campus here, we also deliver those courses offshore. So what I'd like to do this morning is talk to you about what makes a professional, what one considers to be a professional person, and how we should behave in this new knowledge economy that we're fastly entering. First of all, I'd like to talk about industry values. What industry expects of individuals as we interact with industry out there. From my experience, and I've had a fair bit of experience in the entrepreneurial world, in the teaching world, with my family. My family have been in business, so over the years I've picked up a lot of hints that I'd like to pass on to you people. First of all, what does industry value of an individual? With industry values, we're talking about general behaviour, the way we interact with industry, our engagement, if you like, how we go out into industry and interact in terms of trying to make the best of what we've got. In other words, we want to do what we're good at. We want to share that life with through engaging with industry and trying to make the world a better place. So I'd like you to think in terms of that we are operating in a global village. And by a global village I mean we're breaking down the tyranny of distance. We're looking at what happens in Australia, also happens overseas. So we're not unique by any means. We're working together in the global sphere. First of all, with the behaviour, what I'm talking about with behaviour is thinking about how when we go out into industry, how we interact with people, how we interact with our peers, our people above us, people below us. It doesn't matter who we interact with, but it's highly necessary we do this in a good way, otherwise you're going to lose credibility pretty quick. Now, to maintain that credibility, really basic things in life, such as the way you dress, the way you go into industry, talk to people, respect people. You'll get the respect back if you respect them. And through this networking, it's the old adage of, you hang around people or you associate with people who are going to take you places. Now, by doing that, you're going to learn from them and they're going to learn from you. So there's nothing there's nothing new about that, but it's just so important from what I've experienced through life. I guess I'd like to mention the fact that we've come a long way in Australia in particular and the world. But if I take Australia, gone are the days when Australia was brought up on the sheep's back, and then the mineral exploration in Australia that certainly put us on the map in terms of the global village. But we're now heading into what we call the knowledge economy. We're looking at taking opportunities out there when they come, being first to take that opportunity, run with it, and then, as I said before, it's important that you get people around you, mixing with people, the right people, that help you go and take that dream forward. Then once you achieve that goal, through creativity, through innovation, once you achieve that goal, it's important then not to rest on your laurels, but then to go to the next step. So proceed then, okay, what can I do now to improve what I've already done? So it's important not to rest on your laurels, but to keep going forward. Follow, make up your next goal, your next dream, then follow that. And again, there's going to be people out there in industry, in the economy, that's going to help you get there. Networking, I mentioned networking, the importance of hanging around people that are going to take you places. That's so true. Dress. It really hurts me when I go out into industry forums and you see people come in their shorts and thongs. It's not good. It's not a good sign. So you need to dress appropriately. Now, you might like to do your homework as to what is expected of you. Some people do that. They'll ring up and say, what should I wear? No, that's okay. But as you go on, as you get more experience, you'll realise what is required. And that way you earn respect so that you can get the respect from them and then go on with your creative thoughts, your innovative nature, whatever. Opportunities. Another point I'd like to raise here is opportunities. There's just so many opportunities out there waiting to be tapped into. If you look around the world's successful entrepreneurs, for example, you'll see that they have taken opportunities in the market, run with those opportunities, and been quite successful. Sure, you'll hear the number of people who fail, but we can't just go through life thinking we're going to fail. We've got to be passionate with what we do, take a risk, what I'd like to call a calculated risk. So by taking a calculated risk, you look at the pros and cons of what you're trying to do and then move forward and get the resources, accumulate the resources around you to take that opportunity forward. And the success will come with it. There's no doubt about it. I'm quite convinced that success will come about it, whether that be monetary success, whether that be success in your own life, whether that be success how you help other people. I mean, the rewards are there for you to take, but it just amounts to taking the opportunity, looking for the opportunity, taking it and running with it. Now, what I'd like to talk to you about now is within the realms of industry in general, I'm speaking generally here, I'm talking about ethics and behaviour. What is expected I mentioned before about networking out in the public, which is so important. So what's important on how you should behave out there with the, in terms of ethics and behaviour. Keep in mind that most industry sectors have their own codes of ethics. So if you're not sure, and I wouldn't expect you to know what all those codes of ethics are, it's worth doing your homework before you actually go out there to see what is expected. There's a lot of common sense, of course, common sense on how you behave out there, but also a lot of industry sectors do have their own codes of ethics. So it's important that before you take those opportunities that you're dreaming of, go out there and behave within the realm of what is expected of you. Firstly, treating people as you'd expect them to treat you is so important. When you're out there, when you're talking to people, talk their language, that's fine. Now that could be from a very professional method or aspect to normal everyday gutter type talk. So it depends on who you're with in the way you interact and talk. So in other words, you often hear of people rising to the occasion. Well, that's important. You should, if the situation warrants it. So you've got to be very conscious of who you're dealing with and how you talk with those people that you're dealing with. So not just the spoken language, when you're dealing with people, but also, you might be seeing an email, for example, to arrange a meeting with somebody. Now, in my position here at the university, I get a number of emails every day, and it just alarms me the way some people speak. Using acronyms, using foul language. I've even had emails with not so good language, and when I get those, and the person's going to come in to see me, well, straight away I'm on the wrong foot. I think, why is this person speaking to me in that tone of voice, in the written language on the email? And so I'm sort of a little bit biased before that person actually comes, and that's not good. And then when I meet the person, and then I realise, no, I mistook that person completely. So it's important, writing emails, sending text messages, writing letters. You've got to really act professionally, and by doing that, you're going to get the respect of the person that you are communicating with. So it's not just the verbal, the language you use, but also the written aspect of your communication. I'm not saying that we've got to be deadly serious all the time. I mean, part of taking the opportunities, part of networking, part of following your dreams is to have fun, and I can't emphasise that enough. Have fun. Show your passion. Show that you're interested in what you're doing. That's when you're going to accumulate friends around you and professional colleagues and networking that they're going to help you. I mean, there's plenty of opportunities out there. I mean, in my early days, I used to go to a lot of business breakfasts, and at the business breakfast, we used to talk about our experiences. And it's interesting, the people around the table, once you'd start talking, and then after the formal part of it, we start linking and mixing, and people then gain, they gain your respect, and of course you've got opportunities there to go forward, because they will give you help, guidance, resources, whatever. So it's all about that, what I said earlier on this morning about the networking, but also the professional aspect at the same time. But have fun, be passionate with what you're doing, and you'll find that opportunities arise much better. Learning from others, I touched on it just then, but it's while you're out there behaving as a professional, you'll be able to take the opportunities. You'll be able to learn from others. There's so many resources out there. You may not think that you're getting that opportunity, but just by talking to people, mixing with them, you'll find that one opportunity will lead on to another opportunity. So it's important to take those opportunities when they arise. So I guess what I'm saying, it's not rocket science. It's you're using common sense, the common sense approach, but adapt to the particular environment that you're in. And I've learnt, with my current work, my current job, dealing on Australian campuses, dealing with the offshore campuses. I've got to deal differently when I go and visit my partners overseas. So I've got to think about their culture, the way I should behave, the way I should talk, the way I should respect. And I'm finding that through experience, it's not easy in the beginning, but through experience you pick up vibes, you pick up body language, you pick up the way people interact with you, what's expected. So please be conscious of all those different aspects when you're dealing with people. Otherwise you'll find that the help is not going to come your way. Next aspect I'd like to talk about is what are the attitudes that industry expects of you. Now, putting industry, think of industry as being, it could be just one sector, it could be the whole industry, it could be just a small group of people you're talking to within that industry. The first thing that comes to mind is, if you've organised a meeting to meet somebody, for example, it's so important, if it's a 10 o'clock meeting, make sure you're there at 10 o'clock. Nothing upsets people more than if you're late to a meeting. I mean, sometimes it's unavoidable, sure, but please be conscious of that. Whenever I try, and if I've organised a meeting with somebody, I always make sure I'm there 10 minutes, 15 minutes early, because I'm always thinking, if my car breaks down, if the bus is late, or I can't get a taxi. So I always give myself plenty of time, because one thing I just cannot stand, and you'll find that most people in the industry think like me in this respect, if you're there at 10 o'clock, you've got to be there at 10 o'clock. People are busy. People have got a busy, we're all busy. So just because you're think you're busy, don't think like that, please, because everybody is. So it's so important, if you're saying you're going to be at a meeting, make sure you're there on time. Doesn't matter if you're early, just sit in the foyer and just wait. You cannot go wrong by doing that. You won't lose respect by doing the right thing in that respect. Emails. I know emails are taking over our life, but it's interesting, when I have evaluations done on myself from students or colleagues, it's interesting the number of times I hear, "Oh, Greg, we really appreciate the fact that you get back to us with that email." It might be within the next 24 hours, but I try and do it quicker if I can. But it's important to respond in a timely manner so that, again, this all adds to respect, the respect of you by others and vice versa. So that's another one. Phone calls, getting a phone call. If you're out of the office and there's a message on your phone when you come back, there's an answering machine on. I try and listen or take the advice of if somebody is looking for me to try and follow that person up. Because again, just little things like this can go a long way in creating success for you. So it's all about timeliness, whether it's the written form, whether it's on the telephone, whether it's emails, whether it's arranging a time for a meeting. Please be conscious of the fact that people are busy. We are all busy in our lives as we're striving forward. So it's important that you've got to make that extra effort to get there or do what you promised to do. Nothing hurts me more if somebody says, "Oh, I'll send you that in a couple of days' time, Greg." It might be a letter that I'm waiting for, a draft or something, and nothing comes. Then I've got to ring that person up. It makes it's difficult for me to chase that person up. The other person feels bad about me chasing them up because they feel that they've let me down. And I just question then when that happens whether the end result is what I was hoping for in the first place. So it's really simple things in life, such as timeliness, that can go a long way in creating your success and again what industry expects of you. Now the last point I'd like to talk about this morning is what I think are the attributes of being successful. Now I've covered a lot of things in terms of behaviour, industry standards, code of ethics, all that type of thing. But the bottom line, or underpinning all this, I think is passion. Showing passion. Showing that your heart is where you want it to be. Other people realise that you're very committed to what you're doing, and by doing that it's infectious. If they see your passion, if they can experience or feel your passion, then it'll be a two-way street for you. You'll get the results coming back the other way to you. So passion. While with passion, having fun. I mean, whatever you do, let's have fun. Let's create an environment where you enjoy getting out of bed of a morning, simple things, getting out of bed of a morning, going off to work, going off to do your creative undertaking that you promised yourself you're going to do today. Have fun, have passion while you're doing it. Also, in terms of that, as well as having passion, the time management that I mentioned before, time management is so important. To have fun, to have passion, you need a work-life balance. Now, to get your work-life balance, you've got to, some people find it very difficult, trying to balance the two. It is hard. We've all got our private lives, we've all got our business lives, we're working lives. So trying to find the balance between the two of those is a skill in itself. So you've got to be conscious of that. You can't just give your whole life to one side, because you're going to end up a boring person, you're going to end up a stressful person, and at the end of the day you probably have trouble achieving those goals that you set out when you first started. So have fun, have passion, but please be aware of that work-life balance, because that's all those together will make a successful person out of you. There may be other opportunities, that come up that you're not expected. So you've got to be prepared for those. I know, from time to time there'll be a special meeting that I don't, or I've run out of time. I'd love to go to that, but I better not, because I might miss out on doing such and such. Well, that comes down to priorities, and sometimes you've got to forgive yourself for missing out on one thing so you can achieve that other thing. But it's only up to you. You make that decision. You're the only one that can control that aspect of your life. So please consider those type of things as you're going forward. Another aspect, I guess, is, I sort of briefly touched on it, but I'd like you to think of, when you think of successful people out there, the hours they put into a week. Gone are the 9 to 5. Gone are the, you work 9 to 5, whether you're a paid employee or your own business. It doesn't work like that anymore. It's more of a hard work doesn't hurt anyone, as our grandmothers used to always tell us, but it's so true. Most successful entrepreneurs, for example, I mean, they're not going to work 8-hour days. You'll find that they'll be working 15, 20, 25 hours a day. So work doesn't stop just because it's 5 o'clock. So you'll find that by putting those extra yards in, by putting that hard work in, you'll get dividends. You'll be rewarded. But keep in mind about having fun, having passion while you're doing it, because there's nothing worse putting all those extra hours in for the sake of putting the extra hours in. That's not going to achieve it. You've got to be passionate while you're doing it, while you're putting those hours in. That's what's going to take you forward. It's not just the fact you're putting the extra hours in. You've got to make those extra hours effective. And you'll find that any young entrepreneur, as they start off, that's one lesson they learn early in their space, that they've got to put those extra hours in. And whether that's networking, whether that's working on your passion, your creative idea, your innovative idea, or whatever, it's regardless of what it is, you've got to put those hours in.